What if the garage items you use regularly are silently increasing your cancer risk every single time you breathe near them, without you even realizing the danger you're exposing yourself to? In the next 15 minutes, you'll discover 6 common garage items that release cancer-causing fumes into the air you breathe, plus simple steps to protect yourself and your family immediately without spending money on expensive equipment or making major lifestyle changes. And I'll reveal the everyday garage item found in 94% of American homes that the EPA considers a major cancer risk, yet most seniors handle it regularly without any protection whatsoever. Kenneth from Arizona spent years organizing his garage and doing routine car maintenance without knowing he was breathing carcinogenic fumes every single day. After developing persistent respiratory issues and chronic headaches, his doctor explained that common garage chemicals had been slowly damaging his lungs for years without any obvious symptoms. Simple ventilation changes and basic safety precautions could have prevented his serious health problems entirely. Garage Item 1. Paint and paint thinner. How often do you open paint cans or use paint thinner in your garage without ensuring proper ventilation, assuming these common household products are safe to use in enclosed spaces? EPA research confirms that paint solvents release dangerous chemicals, including benzene and formaldehyde, both officially classified as human carcinogens that can cause serious health problems with repeated exposure over time. These volatile organic compounds evaporate quickly from paint and thinner, creating invisible toxic vapors that accumulate in poorly ventilated spaces like garages, basements, and workshops, where many seniors do their home improvement projects. The concentrated fumes in enclosed spaces can reach levels that are hundreds of times higher than what's considered safe for human exposure, creating serious health risks that many people don't realize until symptoms develop. Paint fumes don't just smell bad. They contain specific chemicals that have been directly linked to cancer development through decades of scientific research and epidemiological studies conducted by major medical institutions. According to research published by the National Cancer Institute, benzene exposure from paint solvents specifically increases the risk of leukemia and other blood cancers. Formaldehyde exposure has been linked to nasopharyngeal cancer and lung cancer in adults. The risk is particularly high for seniors because age-related changes in lung function make it harder for your body to clear these toxins from your respiratory system, allowing them to accumulate over time and cause more damage than they would in younger people. Extended exposure to paint fumes can also cause immediate symptoms, including headaches, dizziness, nausea, and respiratory irritation that many people dismiss as temporary inconveniences rather than warning signs of serious health risks. Shirley from Ohio developed persistent headaches and fatigue after spending several weekends painting antique furniture in her closed garage during the winter months. She attributed her symptoms to stress and aging until her doctor suggested that paint fume exposure in poorly ventilated spaces could be causing her health problems. And her symptoms improved dramatically once she moved her painting projects to a well-ventilated area. Long-term exposure to paint fumes significantly increases your risk of developing leukemia, lung cancer, and other serious respiratory diseases that can be fatal if not detected and treated early. The carcinogenic chemicals in paint vapors accumulate in your body over time, and there's no safe level of exposure to these compounds according to current medical research and safety guidelines. Always open your garage doors completely and use a powerful fan to create air circulation whenever you're using paint, primer, or paint thinner. And consider wearing a properly fitted respirator mask for additional protection during extended projects. Never use paint products in a closed or poorly ventilated garage again, because protecting yourself from these cancer-causing fumes is as simple as ensuring adequate ventilation every single time you paint. Garage Item 2. Gasoline and fuel containers. Do you store gasoline containers in your garage where invisible fumes can accumulate and create a constant source of cancer-causing chemical exposure for you and your family? National Cancer Institute studies have established a clear link between benzene in gasoline vapors and increased risk of leukemia and other blood cancers, because benzene is a potent carcinogen that damages bone marrow and interferes with normal blood cell production. Even when gasoline containers appear tightly sealed, they release vapors continuously through evaporation and minor leaks around caps and seams, creating a persistent source of toxic fumes that accumulate in enclosed spaces. Concentration of these carcinogenic vapors can build up to dangerous levels in garages, especially those attached to homes where the fumes can seep into living spaces through shared walls and air circulation systems. Gasoline contains multiple cancer-causing chemicals beyond just benzene, including toluene, xylene, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons that have all been linked to various types of cancer through extensive research conducted by major health institutions. Harvard School of Public Health Research has documented that chronic exposure to gasoline vapors specifically increases the risk of kidney cancer, liver cancer, and lung cancer, particularly in people who are exposed regularly over periods of months or years. The risk is especially concerning for seniors because age-related changes in liver and kidney function make it harder for your body to detoxify and eliminate these harmful chemicals once they enter your bloodstream through your lungs. Many people don't realize that you don't have to smell gasoline strongly to be exposed to dangerous levels of these carcinogens, because your nose quickly becomes accustomed to the odor while toxic exposure continues. Ralph from Texas kept several gas cans for his lawnmower and generator stored in his attached garage for over a decade before learning about the serious cancer risks from a doctor. He had no idea that the faint gasoline odor he occasionally noticed was actually indicating continuous exposure to benzene and other carcinogens that were putting his entire family at risk. Chronic gasoline vapor exposure damages your bone marrow, where blood cells are produced, significantly increasing your risk of developing leukemia and other blood cancers that can be fatal without early detection and treatment. The benzene in gasoline fumes is particularly dangerous because it accumulates in fatty tissues throughout your body and can continue causing cellular damage for years after the initial exposure occurs. Store all fuel containers in a well-ventilated outdoor shed or detached storage area, never in attached garages or basements where fumes can accumulate and seep into your living spaces. Move those gasoline containers out of your garage today, because protecting yourself from these proven carcinogens is as simple as relocating them to a properly ventilated outdoor storage area. Garage item 3. Motor oil and automotive fluids. Are you breathing toxic fumes every time you change your oil or handle transmission fluid, brake fluid, and other automotive chemicals without realizing these products release cancer-causing vapors? World Health Organization research shows that used motor oil contains high concentrations of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and heavy metals that cause lung cancer, skin cancer, and other serious health problems with repeated exposure over time. Fresh motor oil also contains additives and petroleum derivatives that release volatile organic compounds into the air. But used oil is particularly dangerous because it contains additional carcinogens formed during the combustion process in your engine. These toxic compounds become airborne when you drain oil, handle used oil containers, or work around spilled automotive fluids, creating invisible cancer risks that many do-it-yourself mechanics don't realize they're facing. Automotive fluids beyond just motor oil pose serious health risks that most people don't understand, including brake fluid that contains glycol ethers linked to reproductive cancers, transmission fluid that releases carcinogenic vapor, and coolant that contains ethylene glycol, which can cause kidney damage and has been associated with increased cancer risk. According to Mayo Clinic occupational health research, people who regularly handle automotive fluids have significantly higher rates of lung cancer, bladder cancer, and skin cancer compared to the general population, particularly when proper protective equipment isn't used consistently. The cancer risk increases dramatically when these activities are performed in enclosed spaces like garages, where vapors can accumulate to dangerous concentrations, and the risk is compounded when multiple types of automotive chemicals are stored or used in the same area over time. Vernon from Florida changed his own oil and performed routine car maintenance in his garage for over 30 years without wearing gloves or ensuring adequate ventilation. He developed skin problems on his hands and persistent respiratory issues that his doctor eventually linked to decades of exposure to carcinogenic compounds in motor oil and other automotive fluids. Regular exposure to motor oil vapors and automotive fluid fumes increases your risk of developing lung cancer, skin cancer, and bladder cancer, while direct skin contact can cause chemical burns and absorption of carcinogens directly into your bloodstream. The polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons in used motor oil are particularly dangerous because they are known to cause genetic mutations that can lead to cancer development years or decades after the initial exposure occurs. Always wear nitrile gloves when handling any automotive fluids. Ensure your garage is well ventilated during oil changes, and dispose of used fluids immediately at proper recycling centers rather than storing them in your garage. Handle all automotive fluids with proper protection starting immediately, because preventing cancer exposure is much easier than treating cancer once it develops from years of carcinogenic chemical exposure. Garage item 4. Common household pesticides. Could the bug spray, ant killer, and weed killer stored in your garage be the hidden cancer threat found in 94% of American homes, silently releasing toxic fumes that increase your family's cancer risk every single day? Harvard School of Public Health Research has established clear links between common household pesticides and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, brain cancers, and leukemia, because these products contain organophosphates, carbamates, and other chemicals specifically designed to kill living organisms by disrupting cellular function. Even when pesticide containers appear sealed, they continuously release vapors through normal evaporation and microscopic leaks, creating a persistent source of carcinogenic exposure in enclosed storage areas. The cancer risk is particularly high when multiple pesticide products are stored together, because the combination of different toxic chemicals can create synergistic effects that multiply the health dangers beyond what any single product would cause alone. Pesticide exposure doesn't require direct application or obvious contact to cause serious health problems, because simply storing these products in your garage creates ongoing vapor exposure that accumulates in your body over months and years of regular exposure. According to the American Cancer Society, people who regularly use or are exposed to household pesticides have a 65% higher risk of developing lymphoma and a 40% higher risk of developing brain tumors compared to people who minimize pesticide exposure in their homes and storage areas. The chemicals in common lawn and garden pesticides are specifically designed to disrupt nervous system function and cellular metabolism, which means they can cause similar damage to human cells when exposure levels become high enough through chronic inhalation or skin absorption over time. Joyce from Michigan stored various lawn chemicals, ant sprays, and rodent control products on shelves in her attached garage for years, not realizing that the chemical vapors were seeping through the walls into her home's air circulation system. When her doctor asked about potential chemical exposures during her cancer screening, she realized that her garage storage practices might be putting her entire family at unnecessary risk. Pesticide vapor exposure significantly increases your risk of developing lymphoma, brain cancers, and blood cancers that can be fatal without early detection and aggressive treatment. The organophosphate compounds in many common pesticides are particularly dangerous because they're designed to disrupt nervous system function, and they can cause similar neurological damage in humans with chronic low-level exposure over years or decades. Store all pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides in a locked outdoor shed away from your home, never in attached garages, basements, or other enclosed spaces connected to your living areas. Get those pesticide products out of your garage immediately, because these chemicals are simply too dangerous to store in any enclosed space where you and your family breathe regularly. Garage item 5. Cleaning solvents and degreasers. Do you use powerful garage cleaners, engine degreasers, and industrial solvents without realizing they're releasing cancer-causing chemicals into the air every time you open the containers or use the products? Mayo Clinic research identifies methylene chloride, trichloroethylene, and perchloroethylene in common garage cleaning products as potent carcinogens that specifically target liver tissue and lung tissue, causing cellular damage that can lead to cancer development with repeated exposure over time. These solvents are incredibly effective at dissolving grease, oil, and grime because they're powerful chemical agents. But this same aggressive chemical activity makes them dangerous to human health when inhaled or absorbed through skin contact. The vapors from these products are heavier than air, which means they tend to accumulate in low areas of your garage and can reach dangerous concentrations even when you think ventilation is adequate. Industrial-strength cleaning solvents contain chemical compounds that were originally developed for manufacturing and commercial applications, where workers are required to use extensive protective equipment and ventilation systems that most homeowners don't have in their garages. According to research published by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, methylene chloride exposure specifically increases the risk of liver cancer and lung cancer, while prolonged exposure to trichloroethylene has been linked to kidney cancer and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in multiple epidemiological studies. The cancer risk from these solvents is dose-dependent, meaning that higher concentrations and longer exposure times create proportionally higher cancer risks. But there's no established safe level of exposure to these compounds, according to current medical research and safety guidelines. Eugene from Colorado used heavy-duty engine degreasers and concrete cleaners monthly to maintain his garage and driveway, applying these products liberally without wearing protective equipment or ensuring maximum ventilation. He developed persistent coughing and chest irritation that his doctor eventually traced to chronic solvent exposure from his garage cleaning routine. Solvent vapor exposure causes direct damage to liver cells and lung tissue, significantly increasing your risk of developing liver cancer and lung cancer that may not become apparent until years or decades after the initial chemical exposure occurs. The chlorinated solvents commonly found in garage degreasers are particularly dangerous because they accumulate in fatty tissues throughout your body and continue causing cellular damage long after you've stopped using the products. Use natural cleaning alternatives like vinegar-based solutions whenever possible, or if you must use chemical solvents, ensure maximum garage ventilation and wear a properly fitted respirator mask designed for organic vapors. Protect yourself from dangerous solvent fumes starting today, because cancer prevention through proper chemical handling is much more effective than cancer treatment after these carcinogens have already caused irreversible cellular damage. Garage item 6. Car exhaust from warming up vehicles. Are you unknowingly filling your garage with deadly carbon monoxide and cancer-causing exhaust fumes every time you start your car or let it idle inside the enclosed space? American Lung Association research shows that vehicle exhaust contains more than 40 different carcinogens, including benzene, formaldehyde, diesel particulates, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons that cause lung cancer, bladder cancer, and other serious health problems. With chronic exposure, Even brief periods of engine operation inside a garage create dangerous concentrations of these toxic compounds because vehicle exhaust is designed to be diluted by large volumes of outdoor air, not concentrated in enclosed spaces where people are breathing. The carbon monoxide in exhaust is immediately dangerous and can cause fatal poisoning within minutes, but the cancer-causing chemicals create long-term health risks that develop over months and years of repeated exposure. Many seniors develop the habit of warming up their cars in the garage during cold weather, not realizing that this practice creates extremely dangerous levels of toxic exposure that far exceed what's considered safe for human health. According to Harvard Medical School environmental health research, running a car engine inside a garage for just 2 minutes creates carbon monoxide concentrations that can be fatal, while the cancer-causing chemicals in exhaust reach levels that are hundreds of times higher than outdoor air quality standards. The exhaust fumes don't dissipate quickly from enclosed spaces, which means the toxic exposure continues even after you've moved your car outside. And these chemicals can seep into your home through shared walls and air circulation systems if your garage is attached to your house. Clarence from Minnesota had a routine of starting his car in the garage and letting it warm up for several minutes during winter months, assuming this was safer than scraping ice outside in cold weather. He didn't realize he was creating dangerous carbon monoxide exposure and breathing concentrated carcinogens until his doctor explained the serious health risks during a routine checkup. Regular exhaust exposure dramatically increases your risk of developing lung cancer and can cause fatal carbon monoxide poisoning that kills thousands of Americans every year, often without any warning symptoms until it's too late. The benzene and other carcinogens in vehicle exhaust are the same toxic compounds found in cigarette smoke, and breathing concentrated exhaust fumes creates similar cancer risks to smoking tobacco products regularly over time. Never run your car engine inside your garage for any reason. Always back your vehicle out immediately after starting it, and ensure your garage door is fully open before starting your engine. Start your car outside the garage every single time from now on, because this simple habit change could literally save your life by preventing both immediate carbon monoxide poisoning and long-term cancer development. These 6 common garage items don't have to threaten your health when you understand how to handle them safely and take appropriate precautions to minimize your exposure to cancer-causing fumes. Simple changes like ensuring proper ventilation, using protective equipment, storing chemicals safely away from living spaces, and never running your car in an enclosed garage can eliminate most cancer risks while still allowing you to maintain your home and vehicles effectively. If this information surprised you or made you realize you've been unknowingly exposing yourself to cancer risks, give this video a thumbs up and tell me in the comments which garage item you're going to address first in your own home. Share this vital information with other seniors who deserve to know about these hidden cancer risks, because you could literally save someone's life by helping them identify and eliminate these dangerous chemical exposures in their own garage before serious health problems develop.